I'm trying to check for technical issues. Last time I did this, I was getting terrible echo. Testing, testing. Okay, that seems to be fine. All right. Yeah, we're going outside today, so it might be a bumpy ride. Let's go. And also, I haven't charged this microphone in a while, so it might die on me, like in the middle of me blabbering away. I'll try to be mindful of that, but can't make any guarantees. Oh, sorry. All right, you're on a tripod so that I could be standing and talking to you while I point stuff out. Also, it's nice out. It is. Oh, let me go outside. Let me put my shoes. It's nice out. It's super sunny, so I had to find a hat to go that wasn't super floppy. Most of my hats are like covering my face too much, so this was what I ended up with the couple of hats I have. So we'll go with that. So I have my gloves. The dog is here to jump on me, but maybe she's sleepy because it is midday. She tends to sleep in the middle of the day. So maybe she won't be as obnoxious. No, there's my alarm. Turn that off. Well, let's walk a little bit. We're in the front now. The Wi-Fi should be improved slightly from prior years, but no guarantees. I know I cannot go to the northern end of my property because the Wi-Fi doesn't work there. The house brick or something is blocking the signal. But I wanted to just come over here and show you just a little bit of the front area. You can't really see it so well yet, but the alliums, what else did I plant here? Muscari, yeah, they are popping up. Hey Robin, how are you? Hi Hamburgers, nice to meet you. I've never seen that name before. Heavens are about to open up. Oh no! We had rains a couple of days ago, and now we're drying up a little bit. So I'm hoping that I can sift some soil here before it rains again. But yeah, we have some crocuses coming up. These yellow ones you're seeing, I just planted last fall. They're making a nice show. I really don't think I planted the purple ones. I think those are native to here, but I can't be sure. Who knows what I plant anymore. And then over there, which I can't get to, let me zoom out. There, over there, I can't get to because the Wi-Fi will disappear on me. So there's some saffron crocuses over here, but either rabbits or voles have been getting to them. And then the winter sowing jugs, I can't show you right now. I don't think there's any activity anyway, but I can't show those because then I'll lose reception. So I'm very excited. There's still chicken wire across here, across the alliums there because of the dog. Because I don't want her digging everything up. So I'm trying to be mindful of when they come up, and hopefully like they're not blocking the growth. So I do have to come in here every so often and lift these up, maybe today, maybe tomorrow. So happy, let me turn you back around. Happy Spring Eve, everybody. According to science, tomorrow is the spring equinox, which means even days of night and day. So we are going to be well into spring. Now, it's still fake spring where I'm at. This is New York, zone 6B, 6-ish. That gets down to, I think, -10 Fahrenheit. if I remember correctly, something like that. But we didn't get to that this year. But we've got another month at least until we have like real spring, and then still we can't trust that until May or late May that we can put out frost tender things. So I try not to get my hopes up, but this is prime time to get the garden chores out of the way. It's kind of hot actually, so I'm gonna be sweating it out here when I get off the live and start actually doing some work. So I left a lot undone in the fall because I was just burnt out like most of us do get. So here's one of them, the front bed. I don't want to do too much here other than the obvious, which is clear out all the dead detritus, one of my favorite words in the gardening community. Detritus. I don't even know exactly what it means. I'll look it up at some point. Yeah, I also like packed a lot of dead leaves in here to warm up or to insulate the soil, but that also means it's a nesting ground for the voles and whatnot. And the dog has been here and there, like she just dug this up, I just put it back. She dug that up recently. She's looking for the voles because she hears them, or she just likes the nice freshness under there. I'm not sure what this is. This looks promising, like maybe something I grew, but I can't be sure. I'll have to look it up. I know it's not feverfew. Feverfew does not look like that. What else did I put in here? I can't remember. Yeah, so I have a lot of dead stalks. These were the chia from last year. Those are yarrow stalks. I have a lot of dead. We're not exactly dead, but not exactly beautiful either. Like collards. Like, I don't know why this particular, I'm calling it a collard because I don't know what else to call it. Look how green this one is. And it looks pretty healthy actually. But most everybody else are pretty done. I mean, there might still be life in that one, but I'm not going to keep them. I'm just making observations. I know I have foxgloves there. Hey David Corey, how are you? And then these look like foxgloves, but I don't know yet because the label had said they were American spinach, which they are not. And they haven't flowered, so I'm not sure yet what they are. So for those of you who've been following me for a while, this is all just reminders. I know I have oregano and thyme. Well, the thyme is in the corner there, so that's gonna bounce back, right? Yeah. And then there's oregano in here, a couple of them. So once I clear out the excess leaves and such, they'll get some life back to them. But then again, maybe I don't want to. That's like the conundrum because it's still early. We're still gonna get freeze. Like in like 3 or 4 days, we're gonna get down to freezing at night again. So I'm like, do I really wanna unbury the soil right now? Maybe I'll just take care of the big stalks. Maybe I'll do myself that service anyway. I think we can get over to here. Now, a trim of these boxwoods recently, and I have been planting behind here, like I do cherry tomatoes, and they grow really well. But the dog, the dog has decided this is a nice cozy space to be. So she like did a number of digging over there. So now I have chicken wire there to keep her from continuing to do that. So now I might have lost this area for my cherry tomatoes, but I could just figure out a way to guard them, I guess. But it's so annoying, all this extra things I'm having to do because the dog's a puppy and she likes to dig stuff up. Now these are the latest of the, what are these, brassicas. I just outpotted these yesterday. Yeah, I spent hours outpotting a whole bunch of brassicas. These are what, mint, oregano. Those were done a couple of days ago. So these have been acclimating to the outdoors, and they may or may not, come back in the house if we get freezing temperatures. I have a bag of Hollytone there for the blueberries, so that's another job I need to do. All right, let's get to another spot in the yard. How's the reception out there? Hope it's not too grainy. Luckily, it's not super windy, because the days that we've had that have had nice weather have been super windy. So even if you really wanted to be outside, it wasn't very pleasant. All right, let's check out. If you haven't seen, I recently uploaded videos on this greenhouse that I made. So it's just one of those plastic shelves you can pick up anywhere. Stand the wire fence up once she gets used to it being there. Then she may think it's still the way you had it. Oh yeah, that's true. That's true. All right. So this is that greenhouse thingy I built out of, I had greenhouse plastic from other years. I've been doing this, so I cut up some and used a lot of Velcro. Reception's fine. Got a wee bit dodgy by boxwoods. Okay, good. So the onions and the celery have been out here for at least a week now. I just recently introduced the, what is this? This is parsley, cilantro, thyme, my garlic chives here, dill down there. Those just came out recently, so they'll be living in here now. So I don't have much more room to fit much more trays. I could turn them around like I did this one, so it still kind of fits. So if I did that, then I have 2 more trays I can fit in there, which would be probably the brassicas anyway. All right, so this one of the actual jobs I was able to manage to do last week. Thanks, Robin. It's been one of those things I've been wanting to do for so long, but didn't actually get to till now. So these raised beds, I had time to top up, I guess you could say. I have, what is it? I have a couple of mounds of topsoil that I had procured a couple of winters ago for free, except for the labor, which was extensive. So I still have that soil sitting there collecting weeds. So I sifted it. So I expect quite a bit of seeds, weed seeds, to come up in all this. But I sifted some, I topped off these beds, and then I have alfalfa pellets that have been rained on now. So I crumpled them up and spread them across the bed. So these are ready. Well, I want to top this off with compost, right? My own compost. I do want to top them off before I plant into them. But these are ready, and this is going to be primarily the onion bed. I liked how the onions did here last year. Hopefully I won't get the allium leaf miner or whatever allium disease likes to hang out. But I think if I increase my phosphorus and give them a boost of that, that might keep them healthy enough so that they'll get through that. All right, I'm embarrassed by this green stalk, but I haven't touched it all winter long. I don't even know how alive these, oh crap, now I forgot what they're called. What are these called? Well, I don't know if they're alive. Still alive. They're usually pretty hardy, even if most of them are looking dead. I think they'll come back to us. I had this covered with like a mesh cover for most of the really cold stuff, but who knows if that helped them at all. But all the celery are goners already. I can't turn this too much because of the hose that comes out there, and I covered it because the dog would then take the hose and run off with it. So yeah, strawberries are looking pretty rough, which is just an excuse to get more strawberries, right? So we'll see. We'll see in a few more weeks how many make it back. But yeah, that needs to be cleaned up. Now these grow bags, I have 2, 4, 6. I think that's all of them. Yeah. Nope, I have 8. But they also need to be mainly corralled. Robin says, onions love extra nitrogen until they bulb. Use an Omar certified once the water solid from Haas. Fish emulsion is also good. Yep, I got plenty of fish emulsion, so I'm going to be using that. Hi, Mark. I have plenty of fish for fertilizer, so I'll be using that quite a bit. So here, these grow bags need to be topped up, fed, and corralled because the dog already did a number on this one. So this bed is slightly lower than originally intended. So she's been nipping at this. And I put like cayenne pepper, sprayed peppermint. She'd just wait a couple of days and then she'd be back at it. So this bag needs to be, some of the soil needs to be taken out so that I can fold this over. But in general, it just needs to be corralled so she can't get to it. These were lettuce until the very deep winter. So these just need to be fluffed up and reseeded at some point. Lettuce did really well in there. Let me get a drink of water here before I move on to the rest of the yard. All right, let's walkie. What do we got next? Next we have, let's look at this asparagus area. I'm hoping the dog won't be so much of a problem here, but we will see. I know rabbits at some point were a problem, but they should not be anymore. Oh, there she goes, chasing a squirrel. Get it, get that squirrel. So I'm hoping we will not have rabbits as an issue this year, at least with the asparagus. That doesn't mean the dog won't be chewing on the asparagus spears at some point. So we have a lot of twigs and stuff to clear. What else? I had in the past planted this space with like melons with very poor results. I don't know why it's such a poor result because this is so sunny. But being that it is so sunny, I really want to take advantage of it for some other sun-loving things that I can keep protected from the dog. So this is going to be another area project. The crocuses are up, but we don't have any daffodils or those other things yet. But I think they are coming up. I'll go over there. Well, no, I can't go over there. That's like a dead zone for me. Can you, can you see, where is it? I can't see it on the screen. Over here, next to this flag. This is a Bing cherry. It's kind of leaning. I might have to stake that so it's not leaning so badly. There's another, where's the other one? So at least voles left these alone. They've girdled my figs for sure. Well, this one's doing much better than that one. This actually has budding on it. So at least one of the Bing cherries did well over the winter. Of course, if it buds too early, then you might have no fruit at all because they'll fall off in the freeze. Oh, something else I need to take care of before it's too late are these thorny rose, what is it called? Rose something. But they're very thorny. They have yummy rose flowers, tiny ones that smell delicious. But I don't want them here. So this is something I have to hack back before spring gets on its way here. Now I did have spearmint and peppermint in those containers, but I don't think they made it through the winter because these containers are pretty tiny. So luckily I've reseeded those in the basement, so those will. Okay, I lost. Okay, I lost you there. Hopefully we are back and you stayed. I've done some elaborate covers for my cherry trees. If frost comes after they bloom, this year they're on their own. All right, hopefully the connection comes back for you sooner than later. Awesome. Thank you, Robin. I don't know what happened there. It said lost internet connection, which is odd. Why would that happen? It's a beautiful day, you know. Breeze is minimal. Why would you lose internet? And I've videoed in the back way further from the house than now. There's just no reason for it. All right, here's a big area to combat. That, all that, there. We'll start with where the blueberries are. So the dog has been getting in this area, so I have this wire here just flopping over just as a slight deterrent. I didn't have the energy to be pounding it into the ground. Plus, it's not permanent, so I didn't want to do that. So the blueberries here need to be, I don't know, either they need to be moved this year or they have to be moved at some point. They can't live here forever because the well is there and it's old and it can go anytime. And then, you know, if that happens, I'm going to be scrambling. So I need to find permanent homes elsewhere for the blueberries. But yeah, I need to feed them and keep them from the dog. Here, luckily, I already had this area because of the rabbits last year. Of course, these were too big for the baby rabbits, but the big rabbits stayed out. But it will keep the dog out for now. And yeah, so a lot of just cleaning up, like more collards over there. I think this is a Brussels sprout, but that's not going to make it. But there has been, like I can see, okay, it's not so bad. It's just been recent that I thought they were goners, actually. The garlic. I thought they would have come up a lot sooner. They've taken their sweet time, but I thought I lost them, but I think I'm okay. Good. I was like, why would voles take my garlic? But it looks like they were just late bloomers. So I pulled back the mulch to warm up the soil, and I think that woke up a variety of them. So big sigh of relief there that I'll still have garlic this year. This was okra and eggplants, so those stalks need to be pulled. And then the corn stalks also need pulling. And then back here is my main area for tomatoes and maybe vining things. So this needs a lot of cleaning. Yeah, mainly I just want to like expose the soil. If the voles are living in it, which they do like to, then I want to disturb them of that. And I do have to shore up the fencing in other areas. It's not the best. And I don't exactly have a gate either. I just have this thing rolled up here and then I unroll it when I need to get in with a wheelbarrow. So I need to establish a real gate right there. And then this area, unfortunately, needs fencing too. So, like I have enough roll from that to maybe affix to that and then make a big oblongy weird shape over here so that the dog doesn't get in here because she's been in here. She's dug up right there. She's dug up all that, made a mess. So yeah, this area, it's not convenient because I really like this pathway to be open because this is how I wheelbarrow a lot of things to stay off the grass right there. So if I make a big thing of fencing, then that kind of limits where I'm traveling. But if it has to be like that, then it has to be like that. Yeah, so I think I'm gonna put most of the grow bags up here. It's just that because of these trees, once they leaf out, then the sun is shaded for a good 6 hours of the day that I have in this part of the world. So the plants tend to lean, out that way. So it's not the best for, whoa, sun-loving plants. Here she is digging up some spaces where I have my rhubarb. They're coming up. She hasn't disturbed the rhubarb, but she's still making a mess of the space. And then this space I completely abandoned. Look at this beautiful old rutabaga that can go to the chickens. So I had fennel. I thought they would overwinter. I don't think so. I don't see any. Yeah, I don't think so. They were really tiny. So yeah, these are all like old. Oh, there's asparagus in here and some old broccoli and kale. So those need to be cleaned up as well. So over yonder is my leaf mold making compost. We got this area that's for flowers, snapdragons, foxgloves. And then I keep planting seeds, but they keep getting washed away or dug up. Then that bin there, I try to, can I point to it? Where's my finger? That bin there, I try to do with carrots. That's also where I plant my peas. So we'll see what we do there. And then all that pallet stuff, so that's all sunken in quite a bit. So I need to get some dirt in there and raise it up. And then a video coming out soon is the sunchokes. I did harvest a bucket of sunchokes, so that'll be a fun one. Check that out. There's another bucket there that I have to get to because it's in this warm weather. They're going to go quick. They're going to start wanting to grow out, and they're not going to be super edible anymore. And then we're making some progress on where the shed will eventually go. So this area here, we're still working on. There should be a shed there at some point where we can put things in the garage so that the garage can be for the things that go in the garage. All right. Robin says, I had my best fennel last year, planted at the summer equinox in June. Typically mine bolted planted in the spring here. Oh, interesting. Okay. I'll keep that in mind when I'm planting out my fennel, to wait till the soil warms up quite a bit. I'll have to look into that. All right, let's go up to the noisy chickens and do a little bit there. I think the microphone is still good. Let's see. So I think in my next video, well, I didn't record the making of, but you'll see a glimpse of this, me filling this up in the next video. So the compost is over there, but it's an uphill battle from the chicken coop to there. And now the dog kennel is also in the way. So it was becoming an issue for me. So now it's a little bit more downhill from the chicken coop. And it doesn't look unsightly from the house because these trees kind of masked it. So I've got some pallets, obviously. I had to get some fencing for the dog. I need a door, some kind of barrier so that the compost can't keep spilling out as I fill it. But there's plastic underneath to save any compost. That's the table. It's a table. It's not a teak, a Trex. That's like a Trex table. It was broken, but we hadn't gotten rid of it. So it has slats. So it's airing from the bottom, and then whatever falls through, the slats will be saved by the plastic and not, which was my issue with the last compost, was the trees kept eating my compost. The roots were like ridiculous. I couldn't harvest anything because the roots were taking over. So this way, the plastic will save some of that compost. It's not going to go to the trees. I'll be able to harvest them eventually. And then there's aeration coming from the bottom here. That'll help with that process. I do need to turn this at some point. But I did, that's some greenhouse plastic to keep excess moisture off of it. There's still plenty of slats and whatnot for stuff to wet it when it rains, and it's sideways rain, so they'll still get wet. I have an IBC tote right there that I'm going to hook up a hose to. Hey Shane, how are you? I'm going to have a hose hooked up to that to help me put some moisture on this, and also I get a measure to see if it's long enough. The hose I'm going to get that it's long enough to also get down to the garden beds. Here are the chickies. Hello, ladies and gents. How are we today? So I have a lot of work as usual every year, right? Is to clean out the chicken compost. So now I'll have a little bit easier time getting it from there to there. I'll be looking forward to that. So I do the deep litter method with mostly straw, like chopped up straw. And yeah, it's just that I might throw like wood stove coals in there, ashes. There's probably diatomaceous earth, which is not the best thing for composting, I guess. But I do put them in the nooks and crannies of the wood to keep the mites down. I don't know how effective it's been, but I think it composts just fine. Not that big a deal. Let's see. Any eggs? Not yet. Sometimes they lay early, sometimes they lay later. Oh, there's one sitting in there. There's some eggs. All right, let me not disturb her. Lay your eggs, lady. All right, here's where I'm finishing last season's compost. I do have to do a few turns if I want them to finish. Let's take a peek, shall we? It's been a week, I think, since I was here last. Oh, let's see. Nothing much to see. Yeah. So this needs to be turned, aerated. It's covered from the excessive rain and the dog who likes to eat up my compost. Nothing is safe from this dog. All right, what did I want to do while I was up here? Oh yeah, I brought a measuring tape because I wanted to. So I'm gonna get a hose. I'm gonna get a steel hose because A, the rubber hoses are getting old and will be cracking eventually, and B, the dog likes to chew on things. So I figured, oops, sorry if I knocked against the microphone there. The dog won't be chewing on this as much. So I'm gonna, for funsies, I'm going to, nope, that didn't work out. How'd that go? I'm gonna run my measuring tape from the tote to here, and then from here to the garden to see how long I should get of a hose. So I don't think the 50 foot is going to do me any good. So I think the 100 footer is going to be our best bet. So of course this isn't gonna stay on here because that's just my life. How do we do this? Anyway, we'll let that thing go on the floor. So at least to the fence is 12 feet. Yep, 12 feet to there. You have to do some math too. $12 feet to the fence. I do intend on training the dog to the chickens in a little bit here. Now it's getting warmer so that they can free range more or less. All right, 12 feet. And then what do we got? Let's make it 10 feet to make it easy. Now, what's 25 feet? Let's say it's 25 feet to the compost. And then let's see how many more feetage, how much more to the garden beds out there from here. I just don't have a way to attach this so that it's not taking off. Is that gonna stay? Let's see. How far can I get? What's that? 50 feet? So that's 75 feet right there. So I think 100 feet. 100 feet will do me to cover this area for watering. So that's good. Ah. There's a lot of things with thorns over here. All right. Hello. Okay. We got something accomplished today, if nothing else. All right. I will. Is there anything else over here I needed to show you? I don't think so. Oh, yeah, that cover on the IBC I just got. That green thing. Hopefully, it'll keep down the algae. Cut some more trees down. Oh, if only. So many trees, but like we don't want to just keep cutting down trees because we already have a lot. We have a lot of like piles of logs that we have to do as far as burning them. It's like piles upon piles, and they're just rotting, on the ground if we don't burn them. So we don't want to cut too much down. Oops, sorry. See, it doesn't work walking with the tripod. It's too unsteady, and I'm stepping all over it. What else was there? Right. So I just got the cover on the IBC to keep the algae down. Hopefully, there was water in there that I kept to overwinter, which wasn't the smartest idea, but it looks like nothing cracked or anything during the freezing periods. So I think I'm still good on that. And so yeah, I got to drain that water also. And that's another reason for the hose, because I don't want it to just drain in the chicken space and make a big muddy puddle there. There's enough mud to go around. So with the hose, I can use that water more efficiently. And what else? Oh, batteries. Change your batteries if you have outdoor things that require batteries. The chicken's door, one of those automatic door things, split them and sell them. Oh, there's plenty of those around here. This part of New York has a lot of wood or timber people. What do you call them? So there's no shortage of firewood. But when shit hits the head, when something happens in the world, then yeah, we could always Well, I'm sure people will be stealing firewood if that's the case. What else? Right, the chicken door has an automatic opener. And the other day wasn't, I don't know if it was like a cold thing, but it wasn't opening, which is better than it not closing. But still, it reminded me that I really should look into that and change that battery out every 6 months or so. All right, what else is there? I can't think of anything. As far as design, like I haven't really thought out where I'm going to be putting plants this year, other than, let's say, the tomato trellis, which is pretty, I mean, I made that trellis for the tomatoes, so it's pretty much where the tomatoes are going to live unless I start seeing some real issues with the tomatoes. But aside from that, all the other beds are free for all. Like, it depends on what's coming in and where I have the space for it. So I haven't, in the past, I do a plan, like a rough plan, but this time around I haven't mentally gotten to it yet. So I don't know where things are going yet. And I do want to be more intentional. Thanks, David. I do want to be a little more intentional with, like, covering up the brassicas. Very important, because losing them to those stinking caterpillars is not something I want to keep doing over and over, because that would make me insane, which I'm only partially at the moment. So I want to dedicate a bed for them that I can actually cover with the insect netting, so I don't have yucky broccoli and cabbage and all that. So there's that thought to process. And yeah, just taking advantage of the sun, because there's not that much sun spaces in this big space that you see. There's really a lot of shady spaces, or just the soil is on bad terrain, or it's hard to get water to, or some nonsense. But yeah, I feel like there was something else that I can't remember now. What else is there? Well, I'm not gonna go. Yeah, there's not much going on inside, like the seedlings. I just have the eggplants and the peppers going slowly but surely in there downstairs. The last thing I put in was Aunt Molly's ground cherry, because ground cherries take a bit of time to get going. They stay tiny for a while before they go. And I always put some up in my, out of my balcony. I like to put some plants up there. So I have to seed those myself, because the ones that self-seed on the ground take like 2-3 weeks to come up, and then takes them a while to fruit, because the soil is cooler. So at least while I have them in containers up there, it's a lot warmer. And also I get to eat them, because the the pests aren't stealing them or something. So ground cherry. And then what's next? Next week is 8 weeks till my seedling sale. There's the onion seedlings, marvelous. In the last video, when did you start them? I believe it was early January, I'm pretty sure. I was saying I was going to start them in December, but it is what it is. So early January, I started the onions. And I think keeping them close to the light, giving them a lot of light is a way for them not to get leggy. Like, I see a lot of, and I've had in the past, had onions, and then when they're super leggy, then you got to go through the process of trimming them. But the way I've had them this year, they haven't been super leggy, so I haven't had to trim them. And I think overall that's going to be better. I did the trimming a couple of years, because that's what I heard you're supposed to do. But I feel like it's not, because somebody said that was just something farmers did, that ended up transferring over to home users, home gardeners, but that's not necessary. I think if you live in the South, in the more temperate soil, I think then it would be beneficial. But up here in the North, I think it would set us back, because now we're taking away the leaves the very few leaves that the plant has to photosynthesize. And then it's got just a short amount of time in the ground as it is. So I don't feel like for us that it's beneficial to trim onions. My opinion. Do you? So I'm going to try not to. Maybe one of these years I'll do a side-by-side, trim half and not trim the other half. This year I'm not trimming, and we'll see how that goes. Like if it's super floppy for sure, like they're getting in the way of themselves, then definitely I would say trim. But I'm doing well so far. They're nice and stocky. And I think now that I've got them out early in that little greenhouse of mine, they're not gonna, like when they're in the basement, they were cushy and all. The temperature was, the same and everything. So now that they've got getting this fluctuation, I think I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that this year I'll get some decent sized bulbs. Although there's nothing wrong with tiny bulbs. The tiniest bulbs I have kicked, like lasted the longest in the basement for winter storage, as it might be. They lasted way longer than the bigger bulbs. So there is something to the tinier bulbs, because if you need onions, they're there, and you just use more of them. If you need a medium onion or a large onion, you just use 4 or 5 onions, little onions. So don't sweat the don't mock the little onions. They're still good. What was I saying? There was something. What was I talking about before? The onions. Thanks a lot, Robin. Oh, 8 weeks. Next week marks 8 weeks before my seedling sale. So I definitely want to get my tomatoes in next week. And pretty much, no, I think mostly tomatoes and anything that requires 8 weeks to get growing. Marigolds is one of those for the flowers. What else? I think I'll start some of the Asian greens. Robin is a trimmer, but it's easier to manage inside. I would rather not have to be a trimmer. That being said, amazing harvest most years. Yeah, you definitely have onions down. I haven't figured it out yet. I think definitely the nitrogen, which I was not giving them in the beginning, and maybe the phosphorus later on. We shall see. But last year was my better harvest of onions. All right, so I was saying seedling sale, tomatoes, marigold, any other seeds that require that 6 to 8 weeks. And then I will slowly but surely peter in the summer stuff. I'm going to start those instead of 4 weeks. I'm going to give those 6 weeks, like my cucumber and what else? Like some of the squashes. I'm going to do 6 weeks for them. And I'm just talking out loud here. I'm going to put those in the paper cups that I make, the origami, that you use a bottle of some kind to roll up the paper, origami-ish style. So those plants I put in those because they don't stay in there very long. So the mold, which you will get with those paper containers, the mold won't have as much time to proliferate since they're not in there that long. And make sure you keep spaces in between to get that airy. But the stuff that have been in since February, March, those need to be in the plasticky cups because of how long they're in there. So all the brassicas, all the onions and stuff, they're in plasticky containers. Or the waxy ones, the milk cartons or the juice cartons, they have a wax on them. Hey, Odom's Homestead, thanks for stopping in. The containers with coating on them so that the water doesn't degrade the material so quickly, and they don't get moldy. Ooh, loud motorcycle. All right, we are doing pretty well here. I think, yeah, like I said, I think I've covered most things that I wanted to cover. There's not much sign on fruits yet. Like the apples, they're not bulbing just yet. I don't see any signs of flowering, which is good. We don't want them to flower too early. We want a nice, slow, steady coming up. So yeah, I have soil to sift. maybe some wood chips to move around for like pathways. There's a lot to do. When you, yeah, I'm going to take it one bed at a time. I'll probably, take you along on those videos. One bed at a time. Keep it short and sweet. And what else? And other house stuff. I see like a light bulb I want to replace. Haven't replaced it all winter. It's been bugging me for so long. I think today's a good day to do that since it's staring me in the face. All right. What else? Oh, something that came up last live I did on last Monday, with Healy Means is we want to do a growing rice challenge. What were we calling it? Hashtag rice challenge 2025 or something like that. I haven't come up with a definitive name yet. But let's see, if you live in zones 8, I guess, or maybe just 9 and up, 9, 10, 11, you can start rice now. If you're where I am, 6, you won't start till, depending on how your weather's looking, maybe early May, maybe late April. So in my case, I have to pre-sprout them because the soil is much too cold to just leave them in the ground or in a container, then, freezes and stuff. So I will be pre-sprouting my rice in about Mayish. So that requires very moist soil. You don't need much nutrients in the beginning, so just pre-sprout them. And then, like, if you ever watch those nature shows, you see people, when they put them in the terraces, they're plugging in individual plugs of rice. So at first I've used the Kiddler box because I had it. I put 3 inches of soil in there, soup it up, and then throw my seeds, and then wait a couple of weeks. They come up, let them grow a bit, like 3-4 inches. Then I plug them into their container. You can use 5-gallon bucket. I grew this. It looks like a 5-gallon bucket. I'm not actually sure. I also use this. So no holes, no drainage on the bottom. Hopefully you don't have rain all season long of summer, but like this one's really durable. But the dog got to it. That's why there's all that soil. So the first year I grew rice, it was a short season, so I did not get to see any rice. Then I skipped a year, and then this year I lost them to mice or something because I had no kernels whatsoever, and they kept disappearing. So I'm hoping this third year will be the year I'll move these somewhere where there's less, like this area gets weedy at a certain point, so then they can hide very easily. So I'm going to move these to an area that doesn't get weedy, and hopefully I will be able to enjoy some rice this year. Even just just for fun, get a half a cup is definitely doable. And yeah, it's one of those, like, so much work for so little, but it's still fun, right? It's all about the fun. So Healy Means, she's in zone 9. She's in California, so she can start it now. It's the only, like, decent rice distributor so far I've gotten is from M.I. Gardner. There used to be another seller, but they stopped. And I guess Etsy is the only place. I haven't really looked because I get them from M.I. Gardner. Etsy would have them, but you can't use the ones you cook with. Those have already been processed and treated. You have to get rice seeds if you want to grow rice. They're short. There's the Borsky rice is one of them because I grew that one year. That is for areas that aren't being irrigated and flooded and all that. So it's for colder areas like mine. But in the South, I imagine you have a lot more varieties that you can choose from. And then, yeah, so if you want to join that, I will come up with a hashtag at some point and actually do a video, the rice challenge for 2025. And if I know you guys all do like melon challenges and tomato challenges and one seed challenge, those are all fun. But I got roped into this rice challenge, so I'm going to try to do it. All right, I think that wraps it up for me today. Thank you, everybody who came up. Robin, Mark, David, Shane, and anybody else, Hamburgers, anybody else, Odoms, who catches the replay. Thank you so much for coming and watching. And I'll come back to you with a new video dropping soon. What will it be? Might be the compost video. Thank you, thank you. Just let that go by. Might be the compost video first and then the sunchokes video, or maybe I'll flip-flop that. We'll see. All right. Thanks, David. All right, talk to y'all again soon.